My name is Jacqueline Smith. I'm 27 years old. To most people, I look like a regular office worker, but that's not the full story. Every morning at 6 a.m., before the sun comes up, I wake up. I take care of my grandmother and my dog, Jerry. Then I open my laptop to check the world stock markets. I've been doing this since I was 16. My mom taught me how to read the market. She used to say, "Behind every number, there's a person." One of my earliest memories is from my 6th birthday. That night, after everyone was asleep, my mom quietly took me to her study. "Jacqueline, read this," she whispered, giving me a business newspaper. I looked at the big numbers on the page. 8, 9, 10. "Amazing," she said softly. My mom was good with numbers. She studied economics in college and was very talented. But when she got married, she gave up her dream. My father didn't let her continue. He believed that women shouldn't deal with numbers. He said a wife should focus on housework and raising kids. So, during the day, my mom acted like the perfect housewife. But at night, she became someone else, reading financial news and studying stock charts. I was the only one who knew her secret. "There's always a story behind the numbers," she would tell me. I was fascinated by her hidden world. While other girls played with dolls, I sat quietly beside my mom, looking at stock lists. "This company looks good," she would say, pointing at the paper. "Their new product might change lives." Life at home was hard. My father was very strict. "Jacqueline, you're the younger one. Show more respect to your brother Adam," he would say. Adam was 5 years older than me. But just because he was a boy, my father always put him first. As we got older, Adam's demands grew. "Do my homework for me," he would say. "My room is messy. Did you clean it properly?" Adam asked. "My friends are coming over, so stay out of my room." My mom tried to stand up for me. "Don't treat Jacqueline like that," she said. But my dad and Adam didn't change. "Don't spoil her," my father shouted. "Girls should always be obedient." When I was 11, my mom taught me how to invest for the first time. "This is your allowance, $150," she said, handing me an envelope. "Let's buy stock in a company you like." I thought about it carefully. Back then, game consoles were really popular with my friends. My mom and I read the company's financial papers together. "Look here," she said, pointing at a chart. "See how sales for the new product are going up." 1 year later, that investment had doubled in value. By the time I was in middle school, I started every morning by checking stock prices on the computer. On weekends, my mom and I would go to the library to read books about the economy or study stock charts together. "See this line going up?" she said. "It shows the hopes of many people." Sometimes my dad overheard us and sighed. "Here we go again. Girls shouldn't waste time on numbers. Go make dinner instead." On the outside, my mom listened to him. But she always supported me. "You're talented," she told me. "You can choose your own path. Don't let anyone stop your light from shining." Then something happened that changed everything. One summer when I was 15, my mom got very sick. She had a serious kind of stomach cancer. It got worse quickly, and 7 months later, she passed away. Her sudden death broke my heart. She was my closest friend, the one who understood me most. At her funeral, my dad and Adam cried, but their tears didn't last. "Jacqueline, from now on, you'll do all the housework," my dad said. Dear mother's part too. It felt like he had just lost a helper, not a person he loved. After the funeral, while going through my mom's things, I found a letter. "To my dear Jacqueline, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. But I left something for you. I've saved $15,000 and kept it in a bank safe. I saved this little by little over 11 years from my part-time jobs and by spending less on groceries. You have a gift with numbers. You understand how to read the market. I believe you can follow your dreams." I couldn't use this money, the letter said. "Use the $15,000 as your starting capital to follow your own path. But keep it a secret from your father and brother until the right time. With all my love, Mom." I was determined. I decided to invest the $15,000 my mother had left me. I followed the investment lessons she had taught me. I picked my stocks carefully. At that time, technology companies were growing fast, and the stocks I chose did better than I expected. I read every investment book I could find at the library after school. I also studied my mother's old economics textbooks again and again. After school, I often went to my grandmother's house to use her computer. I made all the trades in secret so my father and brother wouldn't find out. "You're late again. Get dinner ready," my father would say, annoyed.
Sorry.
"I was studying at the library," I would reply. Then I'd quickly go prepare the food. I had to lie. 7 months after my mother died, my grandmother came to live with us. She was worried about how the house was falling apart after my mom passed, so she offered to help. My father and brother didn't mind, probably because they just saw her as someone else to do the chores. She brought her golden retriever, Jerry. I was often ignored or treated badly by my father and brother, so spending time with my grandmother became very special to me. I especially loved walking Jerry with her. Those quiet walks gave us time to talk freely. "Jacqueline, you are free to follow the path you love," she would tell me. "Your mother would have wanted the same." Thanks to her, I had fewer chores to do, and I used that time to study my mother's books and watch the stock market. It felt like I was still connecting with my mom. But that peaceful time didn't last. One winter day, a phone call shocked me. My grandmother had been in a traffic accident. I rushed to the hospital. She was already in surgery. After 7 long hours, the doctor came out with bad news. Her lower body is badly injured. A full recovery will be very difficult. From that day, everything changed. "Jacqueline, you'll take care of Grandma from now on," my father said without any kindness. "I'm busy with my studies," my brother said without much care. So, everything fell on me: housework, taking care of my grandmother, and looking after Jerry, the dog. I woke up at 5 a.m. to help my grandmother get dressed, make breakfast, and take Jerry for a walk. Then I made breakfast for my father and brother. After coming home from school, I went straight to helping my grandmother and doing chores until midnight. In between, I still found time to study investments. At night, my grandmother would often cry. "I'm sorry for making you go through all this," she would say from her wheelchair, looking sad.
But I always shook my head.
"Because you're here, I can keep going," I said.
And I meant it.
I was tired, but having my grandmother with me gave me strength. She was the only person who truly understood me after my mother passed away. Late at night, after I finished everything, I would quietly look at stock charts. I felt like my mother's gift for reading the market was now growing inside me. "Jacqueline, are you staying up late again?" my grandmother would ask, concerned. "It's okay. Just a little longer," I'd answer. Even though she was the one who needed care, she was always worried about me. Sometimes she told me stories about my mother, how she secretly studied economics and learned about investing behind my father's back. "Your mother had that same light inside her," my grandmother would say. Her words gave me strength when things felt too hard, especially with my father and brother demanding so much and helping so little. But I never gave up on my dream. A year later, the money I had invested had tripled in value. At 18, something big happened. A well-known investment firm noticed my work. One day, I got an email from Zachary Gordon, the CEO of a respected investment advisory company. "I'm interested in your investment strategy," the message said. At first, I wasn't sure. I was just a high school student. What could I offer? But I thought, maybe this was my chance to follow the path my mother once wanted. I went to my first interview, nervous, sitting in a fancy building across from Zachary. "I've seen your investment results," he said calmly. "You have amazing talent. You understand the market in a way that's very rare." From that moment, everything changed. After school, I worked as an intern at the firm. At night, I still took care of my grandmother, did the house chores, and studied company reports online. My father and brother didn't notice the change. Or maybe they just didn't care enough to see it. To my family, I was just a useful child, someone who took care of the house and looked after my grandmother. "Jacqueline, what's for dinner? Did you do the laundry? Are you giving Grandma her medicine on time?" Those were the only things they ever said to me. Adam, my brother, had barely finished college. He spent most of his time being lazy, but still got a job at a small company thanks to my father's connections. Even though he worked in sales, people said he hardly did anything and went out partying every night. My father didn't seem to care. "Jacqueline, you're hardly ever home these days," Adam said one evening. He had come home early for once and was clearly drunk. "I've done all the housework," I said quietly. "I've also been studying." "It's not just that," he said. "Who's going to take care of Grandma and Jerry when you're gone?" "I care for them every morning and night. During the day, I arranged for a helper." "A helper? Who's paying for that?" "It's okay. I got someone at a discount through someone I know." By then, my father had given up managing the household money. He didn't even look at the bills. Even when I left the monthly statements on his desk, he never read them. In truth, I had already earned enough through my investments. I secretly paid for my grandmother's special care, Jerry's grooming, and even the electricity and water bills, things my father and brother were supposed to cover. They didn't know, and I never told them. I believed they wouldn't understand even if I did. Besides, if they knew, they would also learn about my talent for investing, something I had inherited from my mother. To them, I was just a girl who cleaned and cooked. They didn't see the real me. By the time I graduated high school, the money I was managing had grown to over $2 million. I decided not to go to college. Instead, I accepted a job offer from Zachary's investment firm. It was spring, right before my graduation, when my father finally showed some interest in my future. "Jacqueline, what are you going to do after graduation?" he asked at dinner one evening. He had probably seen the invitation to my graduation ceremony. "It's already decided," I said. In fact, I had already accepted a job at the investment company. Zachary had offered it to me to help bring fresh ideas to the team. "Oh, where?" my father asked. "At Nova Quantum Capital." He tilted his head. "What's that?" "Never heard of it." "It's an investment advisory firm," I said. "I'll be working directly under the CEO, Zachary Gordon," I said. My father just shrugged. Must be a small company then," he said, then went back to eating. Adam laughed. "New jobs are tough, especially if you didn't even go to college. You'll still be doing the housework, right?" His arrogant tone made me sigh quietly. They didn't even know that Nova Quantum Capital was one of the fastest-growing investment firms. "Of course, I'll keep taking care of Grandma," I said calmly. "Don't forget Jerry's walks and the laundry," Adam added, as if giving orders. "I know," I replied. My father kept reading his newspaper, and Adam started scrolling through his phone. They had no interest in my job, my company, or anything about my life. All they cared about was whether I would continue managing the house, caring for Grandma, and looking after the dog, just like always. That night, I was reading an investment book in my grandmother's room when she spoke softly. "I read about your company in the newspaper. It's a very impressive place, isn't it?" Tears came to my eyes. Out of everyone in my family, only my grandmother truly saw who I was. By that time, I had already started planning to build my own company. I wanted to create a new kind of investment platform using AI, a system where anyone, no matter their background, could have a fair chance to invest. I wanted to make my mother's dream come true using today's technology. I felt like this was my purpose. "Jacqueline, you have real talent. I hope you'll keep making this industry better," Zachary often told me after I joined the firm. He supported my dream of starting my own business. At Nova Quantum Capital, I built my experience. I developed an AI-based investment analysis system and created new financial products using blockchain. Every project I worked on became a success. Industry experts began calling me the youngest investment prodigy. On my 21st birthday, I officially started my own company. I named it Horizon Investment Technologies because I wanted the name to reflect looking forward, beyond the horizon. Zachary was proud. "You'll lead a new era," he said warmly. I used the profits from my past investments to fund the company. My decision to leave Nova Quantum Capital and start my own business became news in the finance world. At my company's launch event, a reporter asked, "Aren't you too young to be running a company?" I smiled and said, "Age is just a number. What matters is how much you can give back to society, and I plan to show that through results." Some economic TV shows talked about my journey, but at home, nothing changed. My father and brother, still uninterested in anything related to finance, didn't even notice. I worked like a normal employee in a small company. "Jacqueline, what's for dinner tonight?" That was the usual question I heard every day. Only my grandmother quietly watched over me. "You're just like your mother," she would say. "You have the same light in you." A year after I started my company, my AI-based investment system began changing the market. It made it easier for regular people to invest. The AI helped stop emotional decisions, which often hurt investors. It also set new standards for ethical and responsible investing. Economic magazines praised the system. As my company grew fast, we passed 200 employees. The money we managed crossed over $2 billion. One morning, Adam suddenly burst into the house, looking excited. "Everyone, I have a big announcement," he said as we gathered in the living room. "I'm getting engaged to Joyce." Joyce was the woman he had been dating for 7 months. They had met at a social event. Adam was especially proud because she worked at a major pharmaceutical company, and her father was a doctor. Wanting to impress her, Adam started lying. "Actually, I'm an executive at a big company," he had told her. As their relationship got more serious, his lies grew. "Our sales are at an all-time high. Next month, I'm flying to Switzerland to open a new branch. I have over 200 people under me. I barely have time to sleep," he bragged. But in reality, Adam was just a regular salesperson at a small company. He wasn't doing well at work and didn't take it seriously. Still, around Joyce, he acted like a high-powered businessman. He took her to fancy restaurants and bought her expensive gifts, all paid for with credit. "Adam is really amazing," Joyce once said. Wanting to keep up the act, Adam lied even more. "I was just promoted to vice president. I'm thinking of buying an apartment. My family has run businesses for generations." As an executive at Nova Quantum Capital, I had access to information about pharmaceutical companies, including Joyce's. I also knew about her father's reputation in the medical world. So, I could see through Adam's lies. But I chose to stay quiet. I knew the truth would come out sooner or later. "Congratulations," I said calmly. "We decided to have the wedding in South Africa," Adam added proudly. My father was overjoyed. He hugged Adam and shouted, "Wonderful. That's my son." Then Adam turned to me, with that same smug look on his face. "You have an important job too, Jacqueline." I looked at Adam without saying anything. "Someone needs to stay home to take care of Grandma and Jerry, right?" he said. My father nodded. "That's right. Jacqueline, you're the best one for that job." I glanced at my grandmother. I could see sadness in her eyes. That night, I was working late at the office. Through the large glass window, the city lights sparkled in the distance. My secretary, Ruth, walked in with some papers. "Miss Smith, here's the report on the Asian markets." "Thank you, Ruth. Also, I have a personal request." "Yes. Can you book 2 first-class tickets to South Africa for my grandmother and me?" Ruth smiled. "Of course." She paused for a second. "About what we discussed earlier. Are you sure you want to cancel all of Adam's wedding reservations?" I let out a quiet sigh. "Yes. Please go ahead. But don't say it was my decision." 3 months later, I sat in a limousine with my grandmother, heading to a luxury hotel in South Africa. I took a deep breath and looked at my reflection in the window. I was wearing a simple, elegant white summer dress. "Jacqueline, are you nervous?" my grandmother asked softly. "A little," I replied, honestly. "But I don't have any regrets." Everything was in place. I had ordered all the wedding bookings for Adam to be canceled. Joyce's parents had already been informed about all the lies he told. They knew he wasn't a top executive or rich like he had claimed. The limousine pulled up to the hotel. The driver opened the door, and I helped my grandmother out with care. That's when I saw Adam in the hotel lobby. He was frantically calling someone. My father sat nearby, looking worried and sweating. The plan was working. Adam spotted me. "What are you doing here?" he shouted. I calmly removed my sunglasses. "Dad." "Adam, I'm the one who canceled everything," I said. My voice was steady. My father stared at me, speechless. "Shall I explain?" I continued. "I'm Jacqueline Smith, founder of Horizon Investment Technologies and a shareholder in this hotel." I watched as both their faces went pale. For the first time, they were seeing the real me. Not the quiet girl who cooked and cleaned, but the successful young businesswoman they had ignored. Wait, Adam cried. Joyce's parents, my reputation. Don't worry, I said, cutting him off. I've already told Joyce's parents the truth. About how you lied about your job, your money, everything. The truth matters, Adam. That's just basic respect. My grandmother gently squeezed my hand. Her touch gave me strength. Now, if you'll excuse me, I said calmly but firmly, I plan to enjoy a lovely week in the hotel's penthouse suite with my grandmother. And yes, it's all paid for with my own money. I walked toward the elevator. I could feel my father and Adam standing behind me, too shocked to speak. Inside the elevator, my grandmother looked up at me. Jacqueline, you've really become strong. I smiled. Yes, but it's all thanks to Mom and you, Grandma. The sun was setting over Camps Bay, its light filling the penthouse room with a warm glow. I let out a deep breath. This wasn't the end. It was a new beginning. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my secretary, Ruth. Miss Smith, as planned, Joyce's parents have arrived at the hotel next door. I sighed again. What was about to happen wasn't something I wanted, but the truth always comes out in the end. That evening, loud voices came from the hotel bar. Did you lie to my daughter? Joyce's father shouted. His voice echoed through the quiet room. Adam stood frozen, pale. My father sat next to him, stiff and silent. I sat at the bar counter, quietly swirling the drink in my glass, watching from a distance. An executive at a big company? Rich and powerful. Joyce's mother said, her voice shaking. It was all lies. There's a reason it's all my sister's fault. Adam said, panicking. Blaming your sister? Joyce stood up, her eyes full of tears. You were lying from the beginning, even before you met my parents. My father tried to step in. Joyce, my son may have made some mistakes. This isn't a mistake, Joyce's father said firmly. This is fraud. Adam looked like he might faint. Joyce, Enough, she said, cutting him off. She took off her ring and placed it on the table. I'm calling off the engagement. Her parents stood up with serious faces. We'll send the official papers through our lawyer tomorrow morning. I finished my drink, placed the glass down, and quietly left the bar. Back in the penthouse, my grandmother was sitting by the window, looking at the moon. Is it over? She asked softly. Yes, I said, sitting beside her and taking her hand. No one else will be hurt now. The next morning, my father and Adam left South Africa early. My grandmother and I stayed to enjoy the one-week vacation we had planned. As we strolled along Camps Bay Beach, her in her wheelchair, she shared happy stories from my mother's youth. Your mother must be watching this beautiful view too, she said. I smiled. When we got back home, I moved with my grandmother and Jerry into a new house. The old family home had too many stairs, and it wasn't good for someone in a wheelchair. Thankfully, a barrier-free house had just become available, and I had been quietly preparing for the move. My relationship with my father and Adam was now broken beyond repair. But that was the start of a new life for me. A few weeks after what happened in South Africa, a letter arrived at my office. It was from my father and included legal documents from Joyce's parents' lawyer. Adam was being sued for damages. $55,000 for emotional harm. $83,000 in cancellation fees for the wedding venue. $450,000 to refund guests and cover other costs. Plus, another $55,000 in extra damages. My father and Adam must have been shocked by the total. The next day, my father called. Jacqueline, can we please talk about this? No, I said firmly. This is the result of your son's lies. But that's a lot of money.
We can't pay it, he said.
Fraud has consequences, I replied coldly. People at his company are already talking about what he did. Then I hung up before he could say more. Later, my secretary Ruth informed me. It seems your brother will be fired. Joyce's parents took legal action, and his company has decided to let him go. My father also left his job. People had started whispering, the father of a fraud, and he couldn't face them. They lost most of their money, sold the family house, and moved into a small, cheap apartment outside the city. Adam looked for new jobs, but couldn't find any. In the end, he worked part-time at a bar at night. Since he never saved money and always spent carelessly, even a simple life was now hard for him. My father, too, couldn't find work again. He was older, had little savings left, and lost the pride he once had. Sometimes I heard things from others. I saw your father waiting for the grocery store's evening sale. Your brother's still working late-night shifts. I didn't feel much. This was the result of their choices. My grandmother sometimes sighed. I wonder if the boys are doing okay. I gently held her hand. Grandma, everyone faces the results of their own actions. My father and Adam would have a hard life for years to come. The money they now owed was a fair price for the way they had treated others. I turned my focus to the papers in front of me for a new business project. There was no reason to think about them anymore. I just had to keep moving forward, holding on to the lesson my mother once taught me. Behind every number, there's a life. Yes, Mom. Sometimes, numbers are the strongest way to make things right.